Now, I don't want to talk about the museum itself, but rather what it's built on top of. The museum is built on top of what is known as the Old Dam of 1910. And without this dam, our cruise today would not be possible, as before its construction, the Charles was actually a tidal basin, which meant that it changed height with the ocean. However, as the name suggests, the Old Dam, it is no longer in use. It was replaced by a newer dam and lock system in 1978 that is about half a mile closer to the Atlantic Ocean.
سلام به همه عزیزای دل. اومدیم تو شهر بوستن و راضیه جون. داریم قایق گرفتیم.
Now, as we continue up the river today, we're going to be focusing on two major cities. On the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, excuse me, we have the city we just came from, the city of Cambridge. And on the left-hand side, we have the largest city in Massachusetts, as well as its capital, Boston. So just keep that in mind as we continue up the river today.
On the
left-hand side, you'll be able to see the start of a long stretch of parkland that we will be seeing a lot of on our cruise today. This is known as the Esplanade, but I'll tell you a little bit more about its history and how it came to be a bit later on.
اینجا چون توضیح میده بعضی وقتا دیگه سر و صدا زیاده، من ساکت میشم تا توضیحات تو شما هم بشنوین. مناطق و ساختمانا رو معرفی میکنه. جای همتون خالی، واقعا اینجا خیلی عالی هست. من با راضیه جون یه ویدیو هم براتون درست کردم که بعداً میگذارم. اینم خود راضیه جون اینجا. راضیه جون سلام. راضیه سلام. جای همتون واقعا خالی، هوا بی نهایت عالی، هوای خوب و همه چیز خیلی عالی و خوبه.
You can't be scared, girl. This is gonna happen.
Oh, so nice.
If you take a look on the left-hand side, you'll see a large glass building with what kind of looks like a staircase on its roof. This is the main campus of Massachusetts General Brigham. And to the right of it, you'll see a large concrete building that is also part of Massachusetts General Brigham's campus, being the Massachusetts Eye and Ear Infirmary. The Mass Eye and Ear Infirmary uses a style of architecture that was very popular in Boston from the 50s to the 70s, known as brutalism. Brutalism comes from the French term béton brut, which translates in English to raw concrete. In essence, brutalism is making very simple-looking buildings out of concrete that are also very safe and fortified to be inside. However, they do have a tendency to be perceived as rather ugly. We'll be seeing a lot more examples of brutalism as we continue up the river today. Now, this first bridge we're coming up on is the second longest bridge that crosses over the Charles at just over 1,700 feet. This is the Henry Wadsworth Longfellow Bridge, and much like the boat we are on today, is named after the famous poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.
Are you afraid of the hair in the...
خوبه و شما هم همه توضیحاتی رو که راجع به شهر میده میشنوین دیگه. چی میگه، کجاها رو معرفی میکنه. اینم کنار این پله چقدر زیباست.
If you take a look on your left-hand side, you'll see a boathouse, the first of many that we'll see today. This is owned by Community Boating, and the mission statement of Community Boating is to make sailing as accessible as possible for the working class. In fact, it is so accessible that they offer junior sailing lessons on a sliding scale that starts at as little as $1 a day.
Can I take one with your brother? One with daddy?
Now we're coming up on what is known as the High Spine of Boston, which is where all the tallest buildings in the city reside. Now taking a look on the left-hand side, you'll see a large bluish-green glass building with a large black stripe going down its side. This is 200 Clarendon Street, though it's also referred to as the John Hancock Tower. This is the old home of John Hancock Life Insurance, and it is the tallest building in Boston at 790 feet tall. However, before its construction, the tallest building in Boston was actually owned by their rival, Prudential Insurance. Now this made John Hancock upset, not only because they were rivals, but also because Prudential isn't even from Boston or New England at all. They're actually from the nearby state of New Jersey. So they had this building constructed, supposedly so they could say they had the tallest one in the city. However, with its construction came a few engineering issues. The first of which was that it swayed way. So they put two 300-ton lead counterweights on the 58th floor to reduce the building's movement, though I'm told that it still sways about 2 feet to this day. The other massive issue with this building was with its windows. The original windows on this building weighed about 500 pounds each, and when the wind speeds got high enough, say 45 miles per hour, they had a tendency to pop off the side of the building and come crashing down onto the sidewalks below. Now thankfully nobody was ever hurt by 500 pounds of falling glass, as the police would shut down the nearby sidewalks if the wind speeds got high enough, but for each window that fell out, it had to be replaced with a sheet of plywood to keep air from getting in.
ما میتونیم شهر بوستن و قشنگ هم که نیفته.
This building was originally planned to have a completely flat roof, but longtime mayor of Boston, Tom Boston, was flying to the city one day after a business trip, and got into the Boston skyline and then came with boards. He then started removing the building, and ultimately the new decided on the dome shape that we have today. Well, the dome is fairly decorative and it doesn't actually serve its purpose, but it is rather nice to look at, and it gives the building its nickname, the R2D2 building. To the right of the R2D2 building, you'll see a large square tower. That is the Prudential Tower, home of Prudential Insurance. It is also commonly referred to as the Pru. The Pru is the second tallest building in Boston at 750 feet tall, and it is home to many upscale shops and office spaces. It is also home to a observatory on the top 3 floors called View Boston. View Boston has a bistro and a cocktail lounge called the Beacon and Stratus respectively, but it is view in Boston from the outside. The last building I want to talk about on Boston's High tonight is coming up on the left-hand side as well, is that large glass building that's kind of oval shaped. That is 1 Dalton, and it is the 3rd tallest building in Boston at 742 feet tall. However, it is the tallest entirely residential building in the city, and it's also home to the Four Seasons Hotel. Turning our attention over to the right-hand side, we are coming up on the campus of what is widely considered to be the greatest technological school in the world, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, otherwise known as MIT. However, in my humble opinion, this is only the 2nd best technological school in the state, though I am heavily biased as I do attend the Worcester Polytechnic Institute in the nearby city of Worcester. Taking a look on MIT's campus, you'll see a large dome poking out of the trees. You'll be able to get a better view of the building as you proceed up the river, but this building is aptly known as the Great Dome. It is part of the larger McLaren building on MIT's campus, and it also houses the Barker Engineering Library. However, the building is notorious for the number of pranks, or as MIT students call them, hacks, that have been pulled on it over the years. Some examples of these include wrapping a giant gold medal around the dome just in time for the Olympics, painting the top of the dome to look like the shield of Captain America, building a model police cruiser on top of the dome with a dummy inside, dressed as a police officer, holding a cup of Dunkin' coffee and a box of Dunkin' Donuts, and my personal favorite, borrowed a large plastic cow from a nearby steakhouse and hung it off the side of the dome. The steakhouse didn't actually realize that the cow was missing at first, but once